Because I know a lot of you may be needing help trying to program your robot, I'm going to give a series of lessons that should help you learn programming well enough to get your robot moving and performing the tasks that you wish for it to do. This tutorial is meant for the students and the teachers participating in the best robotics competition using the VEX Cortex microcontroller. You may find this enlightening and helpful if you are participating in a VEX robotics competition or anything else. However, the instructions that I give you will not be one-to-one with the instructions that you will get in VEX robotics. So the task may look daunting at first because programming is another language that we have to learn. But at the same time, it is meant to be familiar as well. As much as it has rules on how to write it, and as much as it is not a language that a person can speak, it is not the most difficult thing in the world to learn either, as I hope you'll see. To give you a reference to this, I have taught middle school and high school teams programming for about 6 years now. And my students, after 6 weeks, which is the competition's time between receiving the kit and having a finished product, the kids are able to program on their own without me even saying a word. And that's how it has to be. The more you teach your students and the more you let them be independent, the better they will do on competition day. Now, there is a caveat there. Students will not be expert programmers by the end of 6 weeks. It's just something you're going to have to live with. But they will be good at programming for this robot after the 6 weeks if you follow my instructions. So here we have the cortex on the left and the joystick on the right. These devices are the main control system. Users hold the joystick in their hand, they move the thumb pads around, they press the buttons, and the program running on the brain, which is the cortex on the left, responds to it. And right now I want to show you, for this first video, these two devices. So the cortex here, as you can see, has actually 10 ports on it. You can only use 8 of the ports though. 10 and 1 are made for VEX Robotics parts, and because of that, it becomes very dangerous to try to use them. We give you wires that will fit into those slots, but the built-in motor controllers are not built to handle that. And I do want to apologize real quick because this is my first time making a video, so I'm not going to be the best at it, and this model of the cortex may move left and right a little fast when I'm trying to dial in where I want it to be. I'm sorry for that, and I will try to be better for the future videos, though this series is more based on programming than showing you the devices themselves. So your motors and your servos are going to fit into the 8 slots in the middle, the ones that are 3-wire rather than 2-wire, and their little bracket, as I'll show you in a future video, is specifically built to fit in only a single way. It isn't meant to fit a different way than the correct way. And I will show you that later when I have the wires to tell me whether the red wire or the black wire is supposed to go one way or another. For your reference, red is positive, black is ground, and white is your control wire. And so the control wire only gets 1 volt, and the red wire gets the full 5, and so it can damage things if you're not careful. In the middle here, that's where the key goes, or where your USB goes. That orange USB or the key will fit into that USB slot right there. And so that's where you program it. On the right side, these are the sensor ports. We're not going to worry about that too much right now, but you've got 8 analog sensors, and you have 12 of the digital sensors that you can plug in. The last slot is for something else, I don't know. You have 3 lights here. The 3 lights are for the robot battery, the code, and whether you're connected to the field control system. Best Robotics doesn't have a field control system, so this one will stay dark once you're connected to the robot. The robot battery will stay between green and red, with yellow being in the middle. When this starts hitting yellow, you may want to change the battery and plug the one that was yellow into the charger, because it doesn't usually last long once it hits yellow. Up front here, you have your battery slot and you have the power switch. These other 2 are for field control, and this is a backup battery slot, but you're not allowed to use any of these 3 during the Best Robotics competition. That's the reset button or configuration, which hopefully you won't need to use, but that's used in case you need to reset your robot when it's being faulty or if you have failed to correctly update it. This is the joystick. In programming, we call it VEX RT. I don't know what the RT stands for. I've always told my students that it's VEX Remote Transceiver, and it's a big fancy name that someone comes up with because they're nerds. But, I mean, we're in a room full of nerds, so. Here we have a thumb pad and another thumb pad. You've got 4 buttons here in a group, 4 buttons here in a group, and you've got 2 more groups of 2 buttons on the back here. None of these are actually useful for competition. There are programming cables that you can get that will fit into this larger slot that looks like a telephone cable, but you're perfectly fine just using the orange cable that we give you, which fits in on the bottom where you can see the model has a VEX key inserted right now. Down on the bottom you also have a battery door, which you put 6 AAAs into in order to get the robot to work, the controller to work. You will need the 6 batteries before you try to pair your joystick to your cortex, because the joystick has to be turned on to pair it. These joysticks, if you look at the one that you are going to receive, have a number by an arrow. 1 is for left and right, 2 is for up and down on the right thumbstick, 3 is for up and down here, 4 is for left and right here. The buttons here, this is group 8. So if you were to choose the button up top, which on your stick will have a U carved into it, we reference this by button 8U. Same with this one. This is 7U, 7D, 7L, 7R for up, down, left, and right respectively. And the back two have a similar setup. These lights, the fourth one you don't have to worry about because that also is for the field control system we don't use. This is the configuration slot. This is your joystick battery, your robot battery, and whether the robot has code running on it. When you go to pair, you're going to turn this joystick on, but leave the cortex off, the brain off, and you're going to wait until the top light is green, the bottom light is green, and the middle one is red. When you have green, red, green, your robot is paired to your controller, and you can plug the keys into both of them, and they will communicate with each other when they're on. So these are your two devices, and you need to take care of them. They are the returnables kit. These are the two most important and really the most expensive parts in your kit. The motors are pretty expensive as well, but it's just how it is. Robotics is not cheap. Your teams should receive your kit of parts for free, and hubs generally will replace your parts on game day, but you need to return the originals and try not to damage them, because the more damaged parts that the hubs receive, the harder it is for them to buy everything necessary for the field the next year. Alright, so for the next video, I will show you how to download Robot C. I will show you how to put a program on the robot and such like that. Thanks for watching, and hopefully this has helped you.